Hey friends, and happy fall. Today's the day that we've all been waiting for. If this is your first time here, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Mel. I am so glad you're here. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing a new chili and a new soup with you. So if you are looking for some fall soup, stew, chili inspiration, you've come to the right place. It's part of a special collab hosted by my friend Katt at Southern Farming Kitchen. I'll have a link to Katt's channel and the playlist down in my description box. There's a whole big wonderful group of ladies and we're all sharing soups to celebrate the beginning of fall. Thanks, Katt, for putting this together, and thank you for inviting me. You all are going to enjoy Katt's channel, and you're going to enjoy every video in this collab. I guarantee it. So let's get to cooking some soups. Okay, we're going to start on this chili, and this is a very different chili than I've ever made before. This is sweet potato black bean chili, and here you can see what all is going in it. It's going to be sweet, and I think it's going to be savory. And this right here is actually black coffee from this morning. 1/4 of a cup of that goes in there. And it just dawned on me, this is meatless. So this could be vegetarian. Lots of good veggies in it for you too. So let's get it going. Okay, I have about a tablespoon of oil down in here. And I've got some onion and sweet potatoes. And I'm using this bag of frozen sweet potatoes. This is like 12 ounces. This recipe called for 2 or 3 sweet potatoes diced up. This might be a little short, but my sweet potatoes just didn't look good in the store. And I thought this was a little pricey, but the regular ones were pricey and they didn't look good. And I did say this was, you know, vegetarian. There's not any meat in this, but if you want to bulk it up, some stew meat would be good in it. I think I have made a sweet potato beef stew before that I really liked. So I'll have to try and find that recipe again. But you're just going to saute these up till they begin to tender, but you still want them to be crisp. You don't want them just mush. First thing we're going to do is 2 tablespoons of chili powder. And we're going to do 1 teaspoon of cumin. And we are going to put in some garlic. Let's get all this stirred in together real quick. Don't want that garlic to scorch, but we do want everything to get kind of, you know, all together here. And I'm going to throw in this little bit of tomato paste. Again, this recipe does not call for that, but I'll tell you what, I have just been disappointed in recipes recently where it's just tomato sauces and stuff. There's something about the warm heartiness of tomato paste that I love. There's some kind of richness there that tomato paste brings that you just can't get from anything else. I love it. Now we're going to add in 28 ounces of diced tomatoes. You do not want to drain these. And I've just got 2 14-ounce cans. We're also going to add in 2 cans of black beans. Those we are going to rinse and drain. Let's get all this stirred together. This is very pretty. This really looks like fall, doesn't it? Let's not forget our salt and pepper. And I've got salt over here in my little pinch bowl. Now let's put in our fun ingredients. We're going to put in that 1/4 cup of coffee that we saved from this morning. Then we're going to take 2 tablespoons of honey. And I'm out of my local honey. I cannot catch that boy at the farmer's market. Now we're just going to bring this to a boil, and then we'll cover it up, reduce the heat, simmer it about half an hour, however long you got. I'm sure the longer it sets, the better it is. I didn't put any kind of broth in this. This is just the juice off the tomatoes. So this is really a thick chili, not soup type mixture. I'll keep my eye on it, and as this breaks down, it may get a little more liquidy. If it doesn't, I may have to add a little bit. But here we go. That's beautiful. That is very pretty. My husband will hate this, but I'm gonna love it, I believe. Hey, Granny said she had to try it. She said she didn't think she'd like it either. Let's see what she says. And it ain't had time to sit there and the flavors all come together either. She don't look impressed.
Tastes better than what I thought.
All right, there we go. Better than what she thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Cornbread or tortilla chips or that crusty, that loaf bread I got out over there. Which one?
Cornbread.
Cornbread it is. It's always fun when my mama stops by unexpected and I'm making something and I can get her honest opinion. So we decided that this would pair well with some really sweet Jiffy cornbread. Mom's one of those people. She likes her sweet potatoes baked with sugar and cinnamon. But I love a sweet potato stew. I like it cooked anyway, and you know how I love the chili flavors. This was wonderful. I loved the Jiffy corn muffin with it. It just gave another little bit of sweetness to go with the savoriness of the chili and the beans. I can't wait to make this again. It was savory, cozy, and all of the wonderful things of fall that we love. I'm ready for a snow day to make this sweet potato black bean chili. I loved it. Now I'm going to share a recipe that Callie's boyfriend Ryan shared with me for a soup that I absolutely have loved for years. Today we're making the Dixie Stampede, their Homestyle vegetable chowder. I've always loved that soup when I've been to Dixie Stampede. And I've got about 3 tablespoons of butter melted down here. And the recipe just says to use onion powder and garlic powder, but I like to have the real stuff too. But I'm still going to put in about a half a teaspoon of the garlic powder and half a teaspoon of the onion powder. But like I said, I'm putting some frozen diced onions in there, and I'm just going to put a little spoonful of some minced garlic as well. Right here's where all your good flavor is going to come from. It also says to use a teaspoonful of light corn syrup. I just happened to have this because I had an extra bottle from last year where we made, the hard candy, the rock candy out of it. Now, if you don't have corn syrup, you could use molasses, you could use honey, stevia, you could use anything like that. This just gives it a little bit of sweetness. You could also make you just a little corn syrup, taking about a cup of sugar into about a 1/4 cup of warm water, but you just need a teaspoon. So, just throw you some honey, or maybe even just throw you some sugar in here. I'm not into making a big bunch of something and wasting it. And you'll see today I am the queen of substitutions. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. 9 times out of 10, it all works out fine. Okie doke, I've had that simmering about a minute here. And then I'm going to add in about 3 tablespoons of flour. Stir that around real quick and get it kind of coated. This recipe does not say to make a roux and to cook the flour taste out of this, but I am going to cook it just a minute. It just says to add all the liquid, right in with this. But I'm going to give it just a minute here. Okay, into this, I'm going to pour in a 1/2 cup of chicken broth, and then it asks for an additional 1.5 cups of water. I just mixed up some chicken broth a little bit stronger because I just felt like a little flavor is always better. I've also not salt and peppered this yet, so I'm going to throw in a fair amount of salt and black pepper. This recipe called for white pepper, but I would never have white pepper on hand, and I wouldn't buy it specifically for one recipe either. I like the looks of black pepper anyhow. And this little recipe here, the measurements I'm giving you, this just makes about a quart, and this is plenty enough because really I like this kind of soup. My husband likes soups that are not so much vegetable-y, if that makes sense. He's more of a stew and a chili kind of guy. It's got to have some actual meat and that kind of stuff in it for him, but I'm actually making this for his parents today, and this will be plenty enough for them. Very good fall soup. Then if you have your own vegetables to dice up, that's fine. You could just use carrots and potatoes, but you just need about 3/4 of a cup. I'm actually going to use this 15-ounce can of mixed vegetables, Veg-All. This is actually Aldi's brand, but I did drain that off. Now you're just going to mix all this up together. There's a really long green bean in here. It needs to be cut. So let's get this up to a light simmer. Now the last thing that's going to go in is 2 cups or a pint of half and half. Like I said, I'm the queen of substitutions. I did not have half and half, but let me show you how I made what I am pouring in here. You take 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and then you just add in regular whole milk to make a cup. I'm actually making 2 cups of half and half, so I used a whole stick of butter, melted it down, then I poured in the 2 cups of milk. You're going to mix this up. Now this probably wouldn't be good in your coffee for half and half, but it's perfectly good for cooking with. I do this all the time. Now I'm just going to bring this back up to a simmer again. I'm going to put the lid on it, and like I said, I'm not going to boil this hard, but I'm just going to let it sit here for a good little bit and come together. And the thing that I have found with this soup is that, you know, it gets thicker. It's got that flour base in it. So I do go back as I'm cooking, and I'll just add just a little bit of regular whole fat milk in and kind of thin it out as it cooks. This is a creamy, delicious soup. It's great with biscuits, kind of gives you that chicken pot pie vibe. But I think I will make a little pan of cornbread. I just think that would travel easier to take this to them. And I am going to, like I said, thin this out, and I think that would be really good crumbled up in this. I just added in the little extra milk that I was talking about. I just let this simmer for a little while on just a medium heat. I actually cut it up a little bit too high and ended up boiling this soup over a little bit. I spared you that footage, but I did have to tell you that, and it tasted great. I love it. It's very reminiscent of just the old-fashioned cream of potato soup that you make. It's very buttery, which was wonderful, and then it's not chocked full of vegetables, but you just have enough. And the cornbread was wonderful with it. I just sprinkled a little bit of parsley on top to give it some color, and I just kind of crumbled that little piece of cornbread up and had a little bowl, and then I sent it into my in-laws, and they really loved this too. And it did taste like what I've had at Dixie Stampede. Both of these are a real winner in my book. If you enjoyed today's video, I would love it if you would give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, I'd love for you to stick around and see what other kind of food I come up with. Don't forget to check out the playlist in the description box. Thank you, Katt, for hosting. This has been so much fun. And if you enjoyed these soup recipes, I'm going to leave you a couple videos up on the screen of some others that you might like to enjoy this fall as well. And as always, happy fall, and I send you love from my kitchen.